I hope you guys are well, and today we're going to be doing a video a bit different to the usual, but something we have done before on the channel, and that is a reaction video. So today we're going to be reacting to something that has been recommended for us to check out, and that is a video that is 50 things that are only possible in Australia. Are you expecting to learn something maybe you didn't know beforehand?
Yeah, 50 things, that's a lot.
That's a good chunk of things. So,
yeah,
like I said,
I've not seen this.
For anybody who doesn't know, we've moved over from the UK to Australia in the last 4 months. So we've lived here now for 4 months. So maybe there's going to be a couple of things we might know that some don't. Maybe there's a couple of things that we don't know. Without any further ado, if you do enjoy this content, be sure to subscribe, like, show all your support on the channel. And I think without any further ado, let's get into the video.
Okay, it's pop quiz time. Which country has the longest fence in the world? How about the second largest Greek population? 3 times more sheep than people? Okay, one word will give it away. Kangaroos! Yeah, I'm talking about the land down under. So, what?
Already, straight into it, didn't know that. Didn't know that it has, what, 3 times more sheep than people?
No, I didn't know that. I knew that about, I know Wales had a lot, and I know New Zealand has a lot, but didn't know that about... Have you seen any sheep since we've been here?
That's a really good question.
Not on the coast.
I don't think I've seen one sheep.
Are they all in South Australia, or are they all in...
Maybe in the farmland kind of things. Greek population, I knew a high Greek population, I knew a high Australian population. But already interesting stuff, like you said. What was the other thing you said?
Did you just say a high Australian population in Australia?
I think I did. I meant Italian. Sorry, a high Australian population. I only clicked.
Never.
I thought I got away with it. No, right, okay then. Yeah. A high Italian population in Australia as well as a Greek population. But yeah, longest fence in the world, did it say as well? Didn't know that. That's another thing.
What do you know about Australia? So let's start with the name. Australia comes from the Latin word Australis, which means southern. Way back in the 2nd century, there were legends of a mysterious Terra Australis Incognita, or unknown southern land. Well, now it's very known. So let's get to know more about it.
Oh, no.
Despite the stereotypes of hot, sunny weather year-round, the Australian Alps, which are the highest mountain range in the country, get more snow than the Swiss Alps do. Better grab your skis.
I'd heard that is a rumour.
Is that true?
I've heard some Aussies say that that isn't true. So if you do know that, let me know. But I'd heard some people say that that is true. Some people say that that isn't true. So
somebody also said, who was it? We met someone that was really into their skiing, and they said like, "Oh, the Australia slopes are all right, but they're nothing. They're nothing on like."
But that maybe doesn't depend on the snowfall. But let us know if that is true. It says the snowfall is more than the Alps. I don't know.
The world's longest national highway is in Australia.
Wow.
It stretches for over 9,000 miles. For comparison, the Earth's diameter is about 7,900 miles. It's actually a network of highways that connects all capitals of the mainland states. Now, I'm sure you've heard of the Great Wall of China. But what about the Great Fence of Australia? Okay, that's not what it's called, but still, the Dingo Fence in Southeast Australia stretches for nearly 3,500 miles. For comparison, it would easily cover the entire span of the U.S., from Los Angeles to Houghton, Maine. Now,
this is, people just don't...
It's called the Dingo Fence to keep the dingoes out of the other territory?
I don't know whether that's just its name. Maybe it is. It might be. I think dingoes are everywhere, though, so I don't know whether that is the case. But, yeah, it just shows you the sheer scale and size of the place. Wow, people really don't understand it, do they? But it is so big.
It might not be so surprising to know that Australia is huge. It's about the same size as the continental U.S., about 2,500 miles wide. The distance from the west to east coast is further than Barcelona to Moscow. No. In all, Australia is the world's 6th largest country.
The thing that makes me think of like all the different places you pass through between Barcelona to Moscow.
So many.
Crazy. It's crazy.
And the only one that's also a whole continent.
Yeah.
But with all that territory, over 80% of Australians live within 60 miles of the coast. This makes the country one of the most coastal dwelling populations in the world. And that means a whole lot of beaches. In fact, they have so many that if you decided to visit a new beach every
Is it
day,
50 years?
it would take you almost 30 years
30
to see
years.
them all.
I thought I'd heard 50, but
The
yeah, I
biggest
knew
property in Australia is about 40,000 square miles in area. South Korea could fit into it with room to spare. The country's termites are busy building
Sorry,
food.
what?
Sorry, hang on. The biggest property in Australia is the size of South Korea. Is that what he just said?
Sorry, you're going to have to go back. I don't like going back through stuff like
In
this.
Australia is about 30 years to see them all. The biggest property in Australia is about 40,000 square miles in area. South Korea could fit into it with room.
Who lives in that? Who lives in that?
Probably nobody. I hope it's like a property that's like, do you know, like nature reserve kind of thing.
Yeah, I hope so. National park or something.
National park or something like that.
building
That'd be
or
amazing
something.
if it is, but oh my gosh, what would you do with all that land? Build another South Korea, I guess. Guess that's what you could do.
Room to spare. The country's termites are busy building huge properties as well. Their mounds are the tallest animal-made structures on this planet.
No way.
Before humans arrived, the continent was home to megafauna. If you lived there about 46,000 years ago, you'd be dead today. But you would have seen 10-foot-tall kangaroos, 23-foot-long goanna lizards, and ducks the size of an adult horse. Quack, quack.
Hang on.
Sorry, wait a minute, what?
The ducks are the size of a horse. Since
And the
when-
kangaroos are 10 foot tall.
Okay, the
Does it
kangaroos
mean
could have
it-
been taller, but
It must mean that the family that ducks came from, not like a modern day duck.
Yeah, no, obviously.
I'm going to have to
not.
look into this, but that's really interesting.
The largest living structure on the planet is the Australian Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
By the
Size
way,
of Italy or
it has
something?
its own mailbox.
No
And there's a rumor that the fish there use eel mail. Yeah. Neither kangaroos nor emus can walk backward. That's a fact. And that's why they're painted on the Australian coat of arms.
Because they're all
Keep moving
going
forward.
forward. I have heard that.
The
Somebody had
platypus,
told us that.
an
love that.
egg-laying mammal that lives only in Australia, is one of the rare venomous mammals on this planet. Luckily, while the venom has an excruciatingly painful effect on people, it's not lethal. The takeaway? Don't fuss with a platypus. By the way, when the first platypus was brought to England, people there were sure that it was a joke. The English believed that Australians had sewn a duck's bill onto a rat's body to play a trick on them. Yeah, right up until he bit them. Not laughing now, are you? Swimming in the surf during the day had been illegal in Australia up until 1902. But after one guy calmly entered the waves of Manly Beach one afternoon that year, surf bathing became increasingly popular. The largest Greek population outside of Greece itself is in Australia. Actually, to be more precise, in Melbourne. More than 160,000 people who live there
No way.
say they come from Greek descent.
Whoa,
Well,
That is a
that's a
large population.
lot of people.
It's a lot of people in Melbourne.
Do we see a lot of Greeks here on the coast? Obviously you don't know who's Greek and who's not, but
I don't know. I don't know whether it's maybe heavily more populated in certain areas, like you said, like Melbourne.
yeah,
But
Melbourne, yeah.
I bet that's why people say the food in Melbourne's so good. Can you imagine? Like the guy who we met the other day, the pizza chef, he was from Melbourne,
Oh, he was from Melbourne, yeah.
but he
Yeah.
comes from Italian. He is Italian. He's not doesn't come from Italian descent. He is actually Italian, and he's moved over.
I was also chatting with a client today who was talking about they lived in Sydney for a while, and she was saying like the food options there are just so good in comparison to like up here.
But even
So
he
it's
is good
just
for
like-
us, though. Like, so
He's
we're
good for
impressed
us,
with
but
you.
they think that like the options are really limited. But like,
When you've lived in like a different place to come here, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
yeah.
different food. So
yeah.
it's interesting. Each to their own.
Melbourne was the richest city in the world in 1880.
No way.
These days, Tokyo,
I
Japan.
do have a fact.
Go on.
Do you know that Brisbane is the fastest growing city in Australia at the moment?
Did not know that. Oh, that's quite interesting.
talk about
There you
that
go.
too.
I bet that's not on this video.
Holds this title.
Get your own
And
video.
until 2018, Melbourne had been rated as the most livable city in the world for 7 years in a row. But then it was bumped down to second place after Vienna, Austria. Come on, Melbourne, get back in the game.
No.
One of Melbourne's founders was
I
John.
think from what I'm seeing on this, a lot of people have said it to us before, but we definitely need to go down and
Yeah, we
check
do.
out
don't we?
Melbourne.
We do need to see.
Melbourne
it.
is a
We
must,
do.
I think,
It's
for us.
not something that interests us because we're not city people, but so
Yeah.
we've kind of been like, yeah, whatever. But now we need to do it.
Definitely go and give it a try.
Batman. Yeah, that was his real name. And get this, the city was temporarily called Batmania. Too bad they decided to change it to Robinville? Nah. In 2018, Australia ranked third after Norway and Switzerland on the Human Development Index. This index is based on education, life expectancy, and citizens' income. Basically, they got a good thing going down under there.
Good on you,
In
Australia.
2005, security guards at the Parliament House in Canberra were prohibited from calling people mate. But the ban only lasted for a day, mate. G'day. If you're ever in Western Australia, you can visit one of their many super salty pink lakes.
Wow.
They get the bubblegum hue from a certain type of algae and bacteria, and they're totally safe to swim in. Just be careful what you chew. Oh, and be sure to take a selfie while you're swimming in what looks like a giant pool of Pepto-Bismol. You can thank Australia for coming up with the word selfie in the first place.
No.
There are about 74 million sheep to 25 million people in Australia, which makes an impressive ratio of 3 to 1. Only China and India have more than that.
China and India. Just honestly, it blows your mind. Like, until you travel, you don't realise some things. Like, you would never imagine those countries having
China
so
and
much
India
sheep.
having so many sheep, yeah. It's interesting.
Oh, and the kangaroo thing is totally true. There are twice as many kangaroos as there are people there. That's 50 to 25 million. Speaking of which, when a baby
So,
kangaroo...
wait a minute. So there's more sheep than kangaroos?
Yeah, which is so weird.
Wouldn't have
Wouldn't
expected that.
expected that.
Wouldn't have expected that. Interesting.
is born, it's only half an inch long. It's also hairless and totally pink. Kind of looks like a gummy bear. What else is there in Australia? Oh, that's right, koalas. And to top that, there are 10 times more camels than koalas. Australia is the source of a lot of the Middle East's camels. Now, in Western Australia,
Not like they're not originally
No,
from
can't
Australia,
be. Well, I don't know though, because then why are they kind of like sourcing them to the Middle East?
unless it's just the perfect climate for them to have lived. So people like farm them over here and then farm them and send them over.
That's so weird.
Weird.
Oh, we need to check that.
That's really interesting. I don't think camels are from Australia. Let us know if they are. I don't think they are.
Comment below.
it's against the law to be in possession of more than 110 pounds of potatoes. Well, every country has its obscure, bizarre
That'd just be
laws.
a silly law that
The
they won't
architect of the
enforce.
world-famous Sydney Opera House got the idea of this unique construction
From the Lotus building in India.
Yeah,
We've seen
that's
this
right.
one. I think I know this one.
while munching on an orange. If you combine all the sails of
Never mind. He was eating an orange. Okay.
the building's roof, you'll get a perfect sphere.
No
The
way.
most ancient fossils in the world were found in Australia. They were no less than 3.4 billion years old,
Wow.
even older than my leftovers in the fridge. There are so many different species in this country that only 25% of them have been discovered so far.
Oh,
Of the animals that
oh, that's exciting.
5%.
Oh, that is so exciting.
So when we were talking about that bird that you saw the other day, that could have been anything.
That could have been a bird that's not been
Could have been
discovered.
anything.
Because everybody was saying that they thought it was a pale-necked parakeet or something, and I looked at it and it didn't look like that. Like the bird I saw was dark blue. If you're wondering, this was when we went to the Buddhist temple the other day. The bird I saw was dark blue,
Yeah.
and it had like a bit of a red streak, a
Yellow.
yellow streak through its stomach, but it was like a navy blue on the top, and its beak was like dark. It wasn't like the birds that I was looking at all looked like a big budgie.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that. It was like a completely different bird to anything I've ever seen before. Like I saw people commenting, I was googling pale necks, and I'm like, it's not that. It's not that. This bird I saw, genuinely, I couldn't place my finger on what it even was. Maybe it was undiscovered. I call it the Picco parakeet.
Picco parakeet. I love that.
discovered to
We'll have
be
to go
native
back.
to Australia, none have hooves.
Oh.
Burger King miraculously turns into Hungry Jack's as soon as you land in
they
Australia.
True.
It's the Aussie franchise of the famous fast food chain.
Wasn't that because some guy at a burger shop
Small
called the
burger
Burger
shop.
King
And
One Shot,
he's
and he
got-
refused to let him have the name
Yeah.
right?
I wonder if he's still there.
He must be, because they might have changed it back, I'm guessing. Or maybe they'd just keep it.
Yeah.
You know.
Australia is a unique continent that doesn't house any active volcanoes. It's also the flattest continent on our
I
planet.
can believe that.
But it's got plenty of mountains, and one of them is called Mount Disappointment. It's just 2,600 feet tall, and naturally, explorers William Hovell and Hamilton Hume expected to see a great view from the top. However, after climbing the mountain, they discovered that there were too many trees growing on top and blocking the view completely. Guess how the men felt? Australia has tons of unique flora and fauna species that you won't find anywhere else in the world. Among those are a staggering 1,500 spider species. Spider species, yeah. On the bright side, and we are, while some of them are fatally poisonous, most are completely harmless.
Yeah.
But how do I tell them apart? Oh, the poisonous ones wear signs. Got it. It's also where you'll find 21 of the world's top 25 most venomous snakes.
Crazy.
More than 90% of Australia is covered with some kind of vegetation. Since 1988, Australia has had a national floral emblem, and it's the golden wattle. When this plant blooms, it gets covered with the country's national colors, green and gold.
Oh, that's cute.
Australia is a multinational country with more than 200 different languages and dialects spoken there.
Wow.
The most popular non-English languages are...
I was going to say, shall we guess?
Guess the... Wait. Mandarin.
Indian.
Yeah, definitely
High Indian population. Greek, maybe? Because
Yeah,
it's a Greek population.
Let's see those three.
Italian as well, maybe in there.
Are Mandarin, Greek, Arabic, Vietnamese, and Cantonese.
All right.
Okay.
There are 19 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Australia, including 12 natural sites, 3 cultural sites, and 4 mixed sites. The difference between Australia's total length and its width is only 200 miles. Hey, do you have an 8-hour working day? You can thank Australian stonemasons for that. In 1865, they demanded to make 8-hour shifts the standard, and it spread throughout the world from there. With 8 people per square mile.
And nowadays, they're trying to work down.
They're trying to get it
days,
to
aren't
4 days.
A lot of
4-day
Australia's
working
pushing
week.
for that. Interesting.
That's cool.
Interesting how times develop, isn't it? Pretty cool.
Australia has an extremely low population density. For comparison, there are about 93 people per square mile in the U.S. The National Australian Airline...
That being said, isn't it because it's inhospitable, a lot of it? Like, a lot of it is, you would struggle to maybe live there, like in the outback and stuff. So when they say square meters, a lot of people do live on the coast.
So technically, you're still very close
yeah,
to a lot of people.
They talk about population density around the coastline.
Yeah.
It's very dense.
Yeah.
So, and there's also a lot of people who come from abroad to live here. So they wouldn't actually be classed as the 25 million in the population, but there's a lot of tourists that come through and a lot of people that are like on working visas.
Yeah.
Us, for example.
Yeah.
So maybe that population isn't fully reflective of people that are in the country.
I agree.
Qantas uses recycled cooking oil to power its interstate flights.
No way.
So, have I missed any cool facts about Australia? Let me know down in the
great,
comments. If you learned something new today, then give this video a like and share it with a friend.
I learned a lot.
Wow.
A lot of new things about Australia,
I did.
actually.
And maybe
Like-
some of them might have been incorrect. I'm not too sure because there was a couple that might need fact checking. But if you guys do have any interesting facts about Australia, let us know in the comment section below because we love reading through anything that wasn't mentioned in the video. A really good video. I've actually tagged them in the description if you want to go and check out the channel for more of their content. But for the meantime, that has been our video on 50 facts or 50 things that are only possible in Australia. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you think. Like I said, comment section below. We want to say a quick shout out to our members. Thank you so much for the support. Show your names and faces on camera now. And anybody who has also supported us with a like, a view, or anything, a comment, thank you so much. It does mean the world to us. And we shall see you in the next video. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Adios.
See you in a bit.